Sophia Dembling, The Introvert's Way. Living a quiet life in a noisy world. We live in a world that celebrates the loudest voices in the room, where those who thrive in the spotlight are seen as leaders, while the quiet, thoughtful ones are often overlooked. But what if the very qualities society undervalues, such as calm reflection and deep thinking, are just as powerful? The author Sophia Dembling says it's time for introverts to speak up for themselves, quietly, of course. Whether it's the subtle energy dynamics at play in social situations or the brain's unique wiring for inward focus, introversion offers its own kind of brilliance. The challenge lies in embracing this trait, setting boundaries, and finding ways to thrive in a noisy world. What does it mean to protect your energy and assert your needs? How can introverts use their strengths to navigate a world that often demands they be something they're not? These questions are more relevant than ever in our hyper-social, always-on culture. In this blink, you'll explore these answers, offering insight not just for introverts, but for anyone looking to understand better how we connect, communicate, and coexist. Being an introvert in an extrovert's world. Life as an introvert can be tough at times. You might doubt yourself, wondering if there's something wrong with you. Why is it that you can't stand parties? Is it normal to like being alone so much? And then, even if you accept that you're an introvert, others might not. You're not really an introvert, they say. You're capable of conversation. You have friends. Well, of course, these things aren't mutually exclusive. There's a lot of confusion about introversion, what it is exactly, and whether or not it's better to be extroverted. Introverts often feel misunderstood or even judged for being who they are, and it's no wonder given the society we live in. Parents worry about the child who prefers to play alone in their room or the bookworm teenager who's happiest at home. In the workplace, people are made to feel guilty if they're not team players. In the US, extroversion is particularly valued. The noisy ones, politicians, public figures, and people posting on social media get the most attention. Quiet thinkers are drowned out by the racket. But quiet can be powerful too. The actor Marlon Brando once spoke about his character in The Godfather. It was a deliberate choice to give Don Corleone a calm, quiet voice. So quiet, it was almost inaudible at times. When he speaks, others listen. Now, as a mafia boss, Don Corleone isn't exactly the best role model, but in his quiet influence, there's a lesson. If you're an introvert, it's time to find your voice and be quietly assertive about who you are. Being an introvert is no worse than being an extrovert, just different. In the next section, we'll look at some of these differences and try to pin down what makes you you. What introversion is and isn't. Sigmund Freud, the Austrian founder of psychoanalysis, took a dim view of introversion. He considered it a form of neurosis. In his words, introversion was the turning away of the libido from the possibilities of real satisfaction. But Freud's protege, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, saw things differently. Jung had a theory of psychic energy. For extroverts, energy flows outward, while for introverts, it flows inward. This theory resonates with many introverts. After a week of intense socializing and giving out energy, perhaps you felt that exhaustion, a need to hide away until you've recharged. Over the years, the debate has continued as experts try to decide what introversion is and whether or not it's a problem. On the one hand, there are pro-introvert experts like psychoanalyst Marty Laney. She's highlighted the many positive qualities introverts tend to have, such as creativity, flexibility, and an ability to think deeply. But some still take a more negative view. As recently as 2010, there were plans to include introversion in the new edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. As any introvert will tell you, introversion is not a mental disorder. Introversion isn't defined by sensitivity either. Though having said that, some introverts do relate to the concept of the highly sensitive person, being bothered by noise, and being highly attuned to other people's moods, among other things. Another thing that introversion is not is shyness. Shy people are anxious about socializing, whereas introverts often just aren't as interested in it. There might be a crossover, but introversion and shyness are not the same thing. Ultimately, introverts can do everything that extroverts can do. The difference is that after a while, they lose interest in certain activities and can find them draining. The jury is still out on exactly what makes people introverts, but studies suggest that the answer seems to lie in the brain. One study found that introverts' brains pay equal attention to inanimate objects and human faces, while extroverts' brains are more focused on faces. Interestingly, there's also research that suggests that extroverts' brains need more dopamine, which they get from going out and doing things. Introverts' brains, on the other hand, seem to prefer a different neurotransmitter, a slow-moving one called acetylcholine. Unlike dopamine's message of get up and get going, acetylcholine is more like settle down and have a think. So there you have it. If you're an introvert, it probably has something to do with your brain. You were born that way. Manage your energy. Earlier, we mentioned Jung and his theory of psychic energy. You might be wondering, what is psychic energy exactly? Is it something that can be scientifically measured? Is it real? We don't have all the answers yet, but ask any introvert and they'll most likely tell you that yes, it's real. They know what it's like to feel totally drained and depleted. Maybe you do too. It's almost as if your brain itself is tired. Your thoughts are slower and it's harder to focus. You may also become more tense, sensitive, and irritable. That's why it's so important for introverts to manage their energy. Ask yourself, what gives me energy? What exhausts me? While introverts often need a lot of time to themselves, not all social interactions are draining. A long, deep conversation with a close friend can require energy but also feel replenishing, unlike more superficial interactions. Another issue is that when introverts are feeling depleted, it can give others the wrong impression. People might think they're cold or unfriendly, when in fact, they're just exhausted. Energy is a finite resource, so think carefully about how to invest it. Before committing to something, it's worth asking yourself, what's in it for me? Of course, some social situations are unavoidable, and besides, you don't want to completely withdraw from society. But if you're at an event and need to take a break, that's fine. You don't even need to tell people. Just quietly disappear. Do what you need to do to protect your energy. And when you feel under pressure, try using the magic words, not my responsibility, not my problem. For instance, let's say you're at a dinner party and the atmosphere is awkward. You might feel like it's your job to liven it up, to save the party. But it's not. So tell yourself, not my responsibility, not my problem. Instead of trying to save the party, save your energy. Use the magic words to help you enjoy social occasions. They don't have to be so exhausting. Train others to recognize your needs and boundaries. Of course, sometimes introverts do have genuine obligations and responsibilities towards other people, but they still need to enforce their boundaries when necessary. These boundaries are something that you personally will have to decide on. After all, not all introverts are the same. Some are okay with the occasional party. There are even those, believe it or not, who enjoy karaoke. So think about your own preferences and find a way to balance your need for solitude with your need for social interaction. As previously mentioned, that means managing your energy and recognizing signs of burnout. If you're starting to feel frazzled at a party, is a quick bathroom break enough, or is it time to go home? Know the warning signs so you can get out before you start to sulk or snap. Unfortunately, not everyone understands introverts' needs. If you leave an event early, for example, someone might get offended. You don't want to hurt people's feelings if you can help it. And while you may not owe a stranger an explanation, your friends and family probably deserve one. So, when necessary, tell your loved one that you need to look after your energy. Assure them that you'll be better company after you've had some time to yourself. And stress that this has nothing to do with how you feel about them. After that, do what you need to do. Decline the invitation. Go home if you need to. It may take time, but gradually, you can retrain the people around you. Every time you excuse yourself from the room or choose to have your morning coffee alone, you're teaching other people what to expect of you. Over time, they'll get it. They'll see that you come back happier and more energized after a break. And when you're tired, they might even learn to spot the signs before you do and spontaneously give you some space. A bit like parents suggesting nap time to a grumpy toddler. So, defend your right to be an introvert. Recognize your needs and maintain your boundaries. In doing so, you'll teach others to do the same. Survival tips for social situations. Here's something you can probably relate to. Stepping into the bathroom at a party, closing the door, and savoring the solitude. When your brain is overstimulated, there's nothing quite like a bit of peace and quiet. Of course, if you really hate parties, you don't have to go. Keep declining, and people will eventually stop inviting you. But many introverts like to feel included and don't mind the occasional gathering. The trick is to do it in a way that you enjoy so it doesn't take too much of a toll on your brain. So, let's go through some tried and tested strategies you can use when it's all a bit too much. Like bathroom breaks, bookshelves also offer a retreat. When you're at someone's house and you need a break, spend a few minutes browsing the shelves. Looking at books can give you a chance to catch your breath and recharge. Or if there's a pet around, give them some attention. Fussing over a dog or cat allows you to ignore people without seeming rude. Alternatively, instead of escaping, try another survival tactic: keeping busy. At parties, many introverts become kitchen elves, collecting glasses or wiping down surfaces. It's a great way to be in the middle of things without having to make the effort to socialize. Some things in life can't be avoided though, such as small talk, which introverts find incredibly draining. And the thing is, small talk isn't restricted to cocktail parties. It's basically a social obligation. It's how people connect. No matter how introverted you are, you can still find ways to engage in light, superficial conversations every now and then. Something to keep in mind is that small talk doesn't have to be fascinating. You don't even need to give it your full attention. Friendly connection. That's all it is. And if you find yourself worrying about what to say, ask questions. If the other person is an extrovert, it shouldn't be too hard to get them going. And who knows, you might even learn something interesting. Either way, asking questions is a good strategy. Chances are, after talking about themselves, the other person will remember you as being charming. Being yourself while finding middle ground. Even in this noisy, extroverted world, it's possible for introverts to live well while being true to themselves. Think about what that means for you. Where do you need to assert yourself? Where should you try to push yourself a bit more? If you want to start making some changes in your life, take it one small step at a time. Real change comes from making little decisions every day, deciding not to be swayed by others, or choosing to ignore the critical voice in your head. Affirmations can be really helpful. They're a way to drown out those negative voices and keep you on the right track. For example, tell yourself, being at home is doing something. This time can be valuable. You don't have to justify it to anyone. Another affirmation is, I can love others without being responsible for them having a good time. And lastly, I know my needs better than anyone else. With all this in mind, you're ready to live life on your own terms and in your own introverted way. Ideally, though, introverts should aim to find middle ground, to stand up for themselves without getting defensive, and to accept extroverts as they are, too. In turn, extroverts will hopefully come to appreciate the sense of calm that introverts bring with them. Mutual acceptance and mutual respect. That's what we should be aiming for. When there's balance, harmony between the yin and yang of introversion and extroversion, the world is a better place. In this Blink to the Introvert's Way by Sophia Dembling, you've learned that being an introvert in an extroverted world can feel like swimming against the tide. From childhood to the workplace, society often pressures individuals to be louder and more outgoing. But introverts thrive differently, drawing energy inward rather than outward, and that's perfectly valid. Introversion is a natural trait tied to brain chemistry. Studies show that while extroverts seek dopamine from socializing, introverts get more from acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that supports calm, reflective thought. In order to thrive as an introvert, it's important to set boundaries and learn to navigate social settings. Strategies like taking quiet breaks, staying busy with tasks, or mastering small talk can help you preserve your energy. It's also important to communicate with others about your needs. Help them understand you. Ultimately, living as an introvert doesn't mean hiding or trying to conform. The goal is to find balance. Be true to yourself while connecting with others in authentic and fulfilling ways. In a noisy world, introverts bring a quiet power that deserves recognition. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.